Hi, my name is Rick Noel, and welcome to this episode on Artemis, which is an application that I wrote to help you find photos quickly on your computer. In this episode, we're going to talk about sharing files with others. There are two methods for doing that in Artemis. One is to send an email of the photographs that you want to share through Artemis, and the other is to generate a zip file within Artemis of the photographs that you can then put into a file sharing technology like Google Drive or Dropbox. So first we're going to cover the email solution. I'm going to share my screen and jump right into the live demo. For those who are familiar with the Artemis episodes, this is a familiar UI to you now. And so to send photos via email through Artemis, the first thing that we need to do is to register your email with Artemis. And we do that by going to the Edit menu and selecting Settings, and then clicking on the Email/Privacy tab. And there you'll see the email address combo box, and it's got the currently registered emails. You pick whichever email you want to use or you want Artemis to use to send emails. Now, there are three email authentication technologies that vendors use, and we're going to register one email per authentication mechanism to walk you through each of them. The first one we're going to talk about is a token-based authentication mechanism, and this is used by companies like Google. So I'm going to click on the Register New Email button here to register my Google email so that Artemis can use it to send photographs. So the first field I'm going to fill in here is the From field, and whatever I type in here as a name is going to show up in the From field of the email that Artemis generates, and will also be in the title and body to help users understand who the email's from. So I'm simply going to enter my name. Next is the email address that I want to register with Artemis. So I'm going to give my Google email. Now you'll notice when I finish typing the email address that Artemis recognizes the Gmail domain, and it disables the password field because it knows that using Gmail addresses, we're going to use this token-based authentication method. So we hit OK, and that brings up a dialog box that's going to walk us through the rest of the registration process that we need to go through with Google in this case. And what we need to do essentially is to get a verification code from the email vendor. Once we do, we will paste that verification code here. So we'll click on the Get Verification Code button. That brings up a browser and takes us to the Google registration process. Now, since I have more than one Gmail associated with Google, it's prompting me for which email to use in Artemis. So I'm going to pick my personal email. Now, normally you won't see this warning message, but because I haven't verified my application with Google yet, it's putting up this warning. But once I go through that process and it's been verified, you won't see this again. But since we see it, we'll just hit continue to ignore it. So next, Google is bringing up a message confirming that we are granting Artemis permission to use its Gmail API to send emails on our behalf. So we'll click allow. Finally, we get a confirmation page here saying that we're granting Artemis permission to use the Gmail API for my personal Gmail account. So I click the allow button, and Google will then generate this code. So I'll click on the copy button here to copy that code to the clipboard. Then I simply go into Artemis and go to the verification code field and paste that in from the clipboard. So now I hit OK. I've registered my Gmail address with Artemis, and Artemis has picked my newly registered address as the address to use for sending emails, so I'm all set. So I hit OK. So next I want to bring up some photos. So I'll just bring up a JPEG photo that I'm aware of. And let's say I want to send this photo via email to somebody. To do that, I simply select the photograph and either bring up the context menu and choose email, or bring up the file menu and choose email. That brings up the mail photos dialog, and you'll see that it's confirming that the from field will be Rick Noel that I typed in when I registered the email, and that the email Artemis will use to send the photograph is going to be my Gmail account. So all I have to do here is type in the to field, the list of recipients for the email. So I'll just send it to myself. So I'll send it to my Gmail account. Now below the to field is a set of checkboxes that control what, if any, of the privacy fields in the photograph I may wish to clear before the photo is sent. So I may want to clear the artist if I don't want somebody to know who took the photograph. I may want to clear the location or GPS data. Let's say, for example, it's a photograph of my home and it has location information in it. I might want to clear that out so that the recipient doesn't know exactly where my home is. And lastly, I can clear the tags if there's any private information in the tags that I don't want somebody to see. So you can click these fields individually, or you can click the select all, select none checkbox to select them all or clear them all at once. Once I've decided that, I just simply click OK, and you'll see Artemis says sending the email message, and it sent the one photo to one recipient. So that's how you register an email that uses the token authentication, and how we then can email that photograph to recipients. And you can email more than one at a time by selecting more than one if you have more than one in the results panel. So there's my notification that my photo has shown up in my email client. So I'll go here to my email client, and you'll see the contents of the email, the title of which is photo sent from, and then whoever was name was typed into the from field, sent from my Gmail account. And the body is simply the text attached are the photos sent to you by, and whoever was in the from field via the Artemis photo searching app. And you'll notice that the email has a zip file attachment, the name of which is photos, and then the date and time the zip file was generated. So if I download that zip file, I can now open it up, double click on it, and you'll notice that there's a contacts folder here. That's because the file that I chose to email was in the folder contacts. So when you email photos to somebody, if they are in subfolders, I'm going to maintain that folder structure in the zip file. So we'll simply double click on contacts, and now we see there's the photograph file that is in our zip file. And if we double click on that, there's the image. So that is how we, again, send emails to somebody through Artemis, where it's a token-based authentication system. So next, we're going to go back into the settings, click on the email privacy tab, and we're going to register a new email using the second authentication approach, which is an application password. Vendors like Yahoo, for example, use an application password to do authentication. So let's walk through that process. We'll register my Yahoo email. Again, I'll use my name in the from field. And in the email field, I'll give my Yahoo password, Yahoo email. And you'll notice that Artemis recognizes the Yahoo domain and therefore does not enable the password field, because we're going to walk through a process with the Yahoo who's going to generate an application password for us. So we hit OK. And again, a dialog box very similar to the one for the token authentication scheme is issued. Only in this case, we're going to obtain an application password from the Yahoo vendor. So we click on the Get Application Password button here. Excuse me. And we will log into Yahoo. And we are taken to the security page from Artemis. And if we scroll down the security page, you'll see the other ways to sign in and app password section. And here we're going to click on the Generate App Password. This just gives some text explaining what we're doing. We're basically asking Yahoo to generate a password for Artemis. So we'll click the Get Started button. And here we simply give the application name, which is Artemis, and say Generate Password. And Yahoo has generated a password for Artemis displayed here. We can simply click on the copy link to copy that password to the clipboard. Now we go back to Artemis and simply click on the application password field and paste the password from the clipboard. And we hit OK, and now our Yahoo email address is chosen and it's been registered with Artemis, so we're ready to send emails via our Yahoo password, our Yahoo email address. And again, we select the photo we want to mail, choose email, and now we see that the from email is my Yahoo email address. And again, I can send this to my Gmail account. And again, I can select what fields I want to clear and then hit OK. Artemis is sending the email message via my Yahoo account, and then it's finished. So that is how we would register an email where the email vendor wants an application password for the application to send emails. I'm not going to show the contents of the email, walk through that. It generates exactly the same email as we saw before. Next, I want to go to the third authentication mechanism for email that vendors use, which is simply your email address and password. So we register an email, and again, I'll give my name. Now, in this case, I'll register my Outlook email address, which just uses an email address and password. So I'll give the Outlook email, and you'll notice that the the password field is enabled since the Outlook domain is one that just takes the password. And so I'll just enter my Outlook email password, hit OK, and now Artemis has selected the Outlook email to use for email. So we're good there. We hit OK. And now, just like before, we can now email our photos by bringing up the email dialog box. And you see here, we'll verify the email will be sent from my Outlook account. And again, I can send that to my Gmail account. Again, clear the fields that I wish to, and then hit OK. And now we're sending it via my Outlook email to my to my Gmail account. So that is the process of sending emails to people and how you would register emails in each of the different email authentication schemes. The next thing I want to talk about is sharing photos by creating a zip file that you would share with people. So let's say, for example, I have some photos here, and let's say I want to mail these 3 photographs to somebody, and I choose to email them. You'll notice that a message comes up to confirm that says most email systems do not accept email messages larger than 10 megabytes. Your email message will be 36 megabytes. Do you want to proceed? So I will give you the opportunity, if you want to email these, to go ahead and email them and see if you are successful, and you'll be able to know that by going into your email client and getting back an error email if the message is too large. Or you can cancel out of here and instead generate a zip file that you'll share with people. So we can right click to get the context menu and choose Save to Zip File, or we can go to the File menu and choose Save to Zip File. That brings up the Save to Zip File dialog box where we enter the name of our zip file, and we can either enter the name directly here or click on the ellipsis button here to bring up a file dialog and navigate to wherever we want to save the zip file. But I'll just type in the temp file .zip. And again, just like when sending emails, you have the opportunity to clear any of these 3 fields from these photographs that we're going to zip up before we share the zip file. But we'll hit OK. And I've already got that email, that file already generated, but I'll overwrite it by hitting OK. And so we see here that Artemis has saved 3 photos to the zip file that we asked it to. So then you can go to an Explorer and select that photograph, move it over to a file sharing directory like you would for Gmail, or put it in your Dropbox folder, and then get a shareable link and email that shareable link to get around the email size limitation. So that is how you would share files with friends, either by emailing them directly or by generating a zip file. Hopefully you found this useful. And if you're interested in learning more about Artemis and seeing the other videos on Artemis, you can go to my website specified here to see the links to those videos. And thank you for watching.